After nearly a decade of political dominance by Prime Minister Viktor Orban's Fidesz party, October's municipal elections saw victory for anti-Fidesz forces for the first time. Gergely Karacsony, the new mayor of Budapest, is our guest in the global conversation. What's behind the success? What has happened in Hungary over the last couple of weeks?
We've known for a long time that there are a majority of citizens who don't agree with the politics of the government. Fidesz was able to win elections in past years by taking advantage of a divided opposition. These were the first elections in nearly 15 years where there was real competition, and the opposition won this contest in Budapest and several big cities.
Your victory has been compared to that of Romano Prodi's former olive tree coalition. You describe yourself as a green politician, but you're backed by 5 leftist parties, including the Socialists and former Prime Minister Ferenc Gyurcsány's Democratic coalition. Even the far-right Jobbik party did not run a candidate against you.
The common opposition candidate for mayor of the capital was decided not by the parties, but by the people of Budapest. A 2-round pre-election process resulted in a joint opposition candidate who was elected directly by the people of Budapest. Since this was decided by the votes of the people, I emphasised during the campaign that I'm not the opposition candidate. I said I was the candidate of the people of Budapest against the people of power. The politics of the last nearly 10 years have all been about Fidesz. Having a 2/3 majority meant any counterbalance of power was eliminated, from the Constitutional Court to the free press, which narrowed the municipality's scope for action. Over the past 9 years, this meant Budapest was a big loser. My campaign was about representing the will of the people of Budapest against the government. We believed our main political stance was representing the power of the people, instead of the people of the power.
Alapállásunk, hogy a hatalom emberével szemben az emberek hatalmát kell képviselnünk.
The Budapest result has been compared to local elections in Istanbul, but you met the mayor of Istanbul before the elections. Did he offer any advice?
Kaptam fontos tanácsokat az isztambuli főpolgármestertől.
I was given important advice from the mayor of Istanbul. His main message was that my politics should be built on the people, not based on party politics and the rivalry for power. He emphasized in his campaign and also after his election as mayor, that his strength in the face of very strong power is invincible because it's not his strength, but the strength of the city. I wanted to represent this politics in my campaign, and I think I've succeeded. My success, which was surprising for many, was not down to my excellent campaign or my personality, nor to the opposition parties. This victory was due to a policy of trying to involve people more in decision-making. I think nowadays representative democracy is facing a very serious challenge globally. Some people say if representative democracy is in trouble, you should choose heavy-handed leaders who tell you what you need and protect you from danger. You can see this in the politics of the Hungarian government and also in many other places where politics has started to move away from European core values. This can be seen in the Brexit phenomenon, as well as American politics. I don't think this is the right answer. The correct answer is to strengthen the representative democracy, complement it with the institutions which are part of a participatory democracy, and involve the people more in decision-making.
How can you work together with Prime Minister Orban? What kind of opportunities do you see in the capital of a non-liberal state?
I can negotiate with the government more efficiently than anyone else because when I negotiate with the government, I represent the people of Budapest. I sit at the table knowing their opinions. The power is much stronger than politicians think.
You're the first representative in Hungary with the backing of the Green Party. What kind of environmental measures do you have in mind?
Budapest is, or can be, a big loser in the fight against climate change. That's why we have to start a process so that Budapest can take part in the battle to tackle climate change. We'd like to achieve a carbon-free capital by 2030.
Green policies can also have a serious economic impact. How do you plan to carry this out if you do not have the Green Party with you?
ön mögött nem áll.
Nem gondolom azt, hogy az ellenzéki pártok ne lennének egyformán
I think the opposition parties are equally determined to implement these policies. It's also very important to see that this green conversion, this green turn in the life of the city, does not necessarily mean economic problems. Of course, investments must be financed, but we should not forget that the whole idea of a Green New Deal is to make the whole European economic and social system sustainable. This creates lots of jobs and opens up the possibility for economic growth, especially at a time when we're having to prepare ourselves for economic recession in Europe. I'm very happy to see the new European Commission wants to represent this climate change policy. I'm also very happy there is a possibility for big cities to be directly funded from Brussels to implement measures which are important with a view to climate change.
Ön Budapesten az úgynevezett látványberuházásoknak a megakadályozását.
You promised to stop certain types of investments in Budapest, for instance, stadium construction. How can you achieve this faced with a prime minister who has the formidable political force of Fidesz behind him?
Továbbra is nagy, a legerősebb politikai erő van mögötte.
I'm not against investments. I just want to re-establish priorities by asking the government to also invest in healthcare. Once this has been carried out, then we can discuss other things. I don't want to act against these investments, but I would like to draw attention to the fact that these investments are not the most important ones. The ranking is low now. The development of healthcare, public transport and green areas must come first. Sport investments will be made only after these.
Először zöld felületnövelés, és ha ezek megvannak, akkor jöhetnek a sportberuházások.
Jelenleg ön.
In reality, you're the most successful opposition politician. Will you run for prime minister? Will you challenge Viktor Orban in 2022?
Orbán Viktor kihívója?
Nekem az a dolgom, hogy
In my position, my priority now is to have a normal partnership with the government. Nevertheless, I don't want to ignore my roots in Hungarian politics. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that the opposition will find an excellent candidate. For now, I think I have another job to do.
Köszönöm szépen az interjút.
Én is köszönöm.